4 p.m. and I'm calling the special meeting of the Measure J Commission to order. We do a pledge of allegiance. You want your flag?
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chairperson Soto,
Here.
Commissioner Puder,
Present.
Commissioner Gassan,
Here.
Commissioner Craig,
Here.
Commissioner Marshall.
Here.
Commissioner Robin.
Here.
And Chairperson Bernstein.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, the acceptance of the agenda. Oh, one item on the agenda. Here to accept it.
Second. So moved.
Public comment. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Measure J Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Whether the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on part of the agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. Welcome comments. Well, that was a great meeting today, and we'll talk about it at our next meeting. But today we have one item on the agenda, the new business, which is discussion of our presentation for the upcoming board and commissions meeting on June 21st. No, wrong.
The meeting presentation should be no longer than 10 minutes, and you may have a PowerPoint, or you may choose not to have a PowerPoint. But the meeting will take place at the convention center. I'm not sure exactly what time yet, but that information will be provided to you. And you'll have to outline what you've done this year and what you plan on doing this following year. And whatever you choose to discuss within the 10-minute presentation.
Is the audience council or is the audience the other commissions to inform them?
I am not sure, but I know that all the other commissions will be present, commissions and boards. I'm not sure whether council will be present at this meeting, but more information to come.
Could I ask you, since you're saying more information to come, as I said, the Palm Springs International Film Festival is also opening at 5 o'clock on the 21st. Could you alert them to that, to possibly go earlier with this?
Okay, we'll do.
So, have to do a presentation on what we did last year and this year. I mean, maybe what we just basically do is the summary of what we just did,
Yeah.
you know, and I'll just condense it. Should we do it as a PowerPoint?
I think a PowerPoint would be great if.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into disagreements with engineering. I just want to say, this is our budget. This is how the community initiated works. These are a sample of the community initiated projects we've come up to date, because we still haven't done all of them. We've only allocated 1.6. And then these are regular Measure J capital projects we're doing.
I think the best thing, because there could be people there that aren't familiar with the commission. So maybe the first PowerPoint is literally, that screen is, who are we? Why did we come to be?
Oh, the
It would be that mission
statement,
statement
yeah.
that Christy
Okay.
Holstead read.
Yeah.
So this is what we're in charge, we are governed. Then a little bit of history and revenue stream over maybe the first year we only made 7 million. Now we're kind of pushing 21 million a year in revenue. And that from that, the 1 million a year. So I think we should define that.
Yeah, actually, I think if you back up a step, there are 4 or 5 high points of what happened in the past. The funded projects.
Well, then after we did $1 million, now we go into like some of the big projects that have been done. In the list.
And then, just make sure we define, we do community projects and examples of those. Hotspot, hotspots was basically sidewalk, stop signs, some bike lanes, I don't know what was all, crosswalks, the crosswalks was all part of hotspots. That took up 3 years of community.
We did, yeah.
And
Right,
then,
so then we're like 3 million.
Yeah, and the road paint,
I was gonna say that you should put in that,
well, that,
The
then that falls
conception.
under our.
That's under the
bucket.
regular, right?
Yeah,
We're still
and
in
we
the-
can just talk about what
So
we.
first he's saying do the community projects and talk about
I would say maybe go over capital projects first, because those are like the big selling points that we have funded for already. And what we, what has been accomplished with capital projects. And then I would go, and we also have discretionary funds with these community initiated projects. These are some examples. This is the process that we did this last year. This is what was recently approved, and really, like, if people just understand the difference between the capital improvement projects and community initiated projects and how to advocate for either one of those buckets, like, I think that would be a win, if people just understood those differences.
I
And
also,
I agree with her.
I do the.
Make
I
that as
also
a-
think that you should
Community
add
project.
to it, the fact that you're talking about it from the time that Mark, who was one of the first commissioners, till now, 75 miles of roads have been repaved.
It's even more than that now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
was
would think
way
so.
more than that.
Right, and I think that,
So we
I
could
think
get
that
them.
people would go, really?
Well, that's what people want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give them the big ticket. I-
So if we're
There's
going,
this lens, my perception is this lens of there's a ton of road work.
Mhm.
There's using the lens before, there are the community, there are the enhancements that people can really notice and are aware of. And then there are the more nuts and bolts, really important projects. No one's thinking about water treatment, no one's thinking about emergency generators, but they're huge factors for
there's a lot on the
project
website
list.
that I think they can just take
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And do you have that colored brochure that we handed out at the picnic a few years ago?
Reminder.
And I just got further clarification regarding the presentation
Yeah.
from the Sam's office, 5 minutes on what work the commission has been doing and 5 minutes on what the commission will be working on in the upcoming year.
Mhm.
Seems kind of, I think for us, it's.
It's spending the money.
It's just budget.
Yeah, I mean,
Pure
I
and
think when we
simple.
just look at the future on what kind of was passed and then part of the CIP 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Measure J will be looking at.
Yeah, because really, for next year, all we know right now is we're looking at the 5-year plan and whatever projects haven't been done now, but we have all these projects that we just said okay to that are really for next year.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
and they're the future, yeah.
We're
What
not-
we're doing now is the future.
We're not necessarily going to discuss them, we already did, but that's what the results of our commission will be next year.
It's like- it's like- it's-
Bring
we're-
in the
we're running-
library, so we'll keep that and moving forward.
Well, give it back.
Be sure and always include the library in there.
We should really reiterate that of the projects that need to go through the engineering vetting process, and that these numbers may change, and kind of final approval and moving forward still needs to happen, because they might hear like, oh, this project is definitely happening, and in 18 months, Joel tells us otherwise. But I think the process would be really helpful for people to understand, so that, like, this is what we're doing now. We plan on replicating it in the future. If you have a project you have in mind, this is kind of the ideal time. You can always provide public input, and that would help us too. But I'm a little nervous, people just being like, great, this 400,000 for, I can't remember any of the projects, but
Not to be clear about the process is
Yeah,
quite lengthy
yeah,
for some of this, and that'll play into the fact that we're putting aside money now for the
Yeah.
next 5 years.
Right, to Naomi's point, and Jeffrey, you said something a couple meetings ago once that I thought was really, really good punchline of the whole Measure J process is running a year of meetings to get to June.
Yeah.
And everything is oriented around the punchline that we're in right now.
With the budget.
Get the budget approved, so you can start working on the next budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the basis of Measure J, the history of what has been done, projects that have been done so that today, and how the things are divided. Then we're gonna have the process of how we get there, which will also address some of the things Naomi said in terms of engineering has to vet, public and submit and other places. And then we'll go into specific projects that have been approved, or tentatively approved for the next year. And then we'll go into the 5-year plan and things that we'll be discussing this next year.
And just make sure you have a slide on community initiated projects, if that's a little offshoot. You could say that more after how we vet
Yes,
community project, or how we vet capital projects with staff, and then we also evaluate or designate $1 million a year for community initiated projects, and sometimes those are multi-year
right.
projects. You know, we did, and you can say we spent 3 years on just hotspots. And that was just addressing pedestrian safety around the city. This time it could be a potpourri of things as we opened up to the public, and that might take 2 or 3 years of budget.
Anything else?
That's gonna
Who's
be
gonna
10 minutes.
do, who wants,
Who's doing this?
yeah, who's doing,
I can put the PowerPoint together, as long as I have all the information needed, and I can send it out for review.
So we can't discuss it again before the meeting. But
we can give individual feedback.
if we draft something by Monday, Monday's pretty early, right?
Yes,
And how, then you send it out, then you put it into something that goes out to people.
the city manager's office needs the presentation by Wednesday, the 15th, I believe. So, if we can complete it by the 15th.
How do we get people's comments on it after you draft it? Is that
And that's the
possible?
thing, that's why we had to meet today, so that we could decipher exactly what we want on that presentation, because we could talk about it outside of this meeting.
If you're going to do it, and I think you're the person, whatever you have gleaned here, you will do well. I mean, 5 minutes in speech
Well,
goes
feel free, if
rapidly.
you need to reach out to any of us individually,
Yeah.
just to say, hey, Mark, do you remember
Yeah, so
3 of the biggest
Yeah,
But if you're going to
accomplishments
do it,
Measure J did
yeah,
5 years ago, or something like that, you know? But I mean, we did Firehouse, I don't know what the number of that Firehouse was in Palm Beach. So Firehouse 4, the downtown park,
Mhm.
and, you know, we can say Measure J helped,
we did upgrade the high school.
Yeah.
helped fund high school. We don't do them all, because we don't,
Right.
like, if someone hates it, we don't want to be like, "Ooh, no, sorry. We help fund these things, the Wellwood Library downtown, all the road repairs, you know, probably.
Indian Canyon as well, the 2-way.
Oh, yeah, Indian Canyon 2-way, whether they love it or hate it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, I think if you have to
Architecture
give it,
and
you
design.
write something that is
But You're
comfortable.
welcome to email us individually
Yeah, we don't.
and just
need
say, hey,
that.
I need a few more bullet points.
can I get, I can email everybody individually or not? Send out a blind copy?
No.
Okay,
So you can send me once you have an outline, you can send me an outline, and I can work on the PowerPoint presentation, or you may choose to work on the presentation. Either way, it has to come back to staff so that we
She
can
can
provide
send
it
out
to.
everything.
oh, yeah, I know that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
So,
make
but
But
I can
under
get-
Brown Act, he can interact with 1 or 2.
two other people, right? Okay,
Okay.
well, that's good, because then, Jim was the chair before me, so he had all that stuff.
Yeah, and I have some time this weekend, if you just run ideas and I can edit or do whatever.
I mean, it has to be kind of top level, clear, because.
Totally.
I mean, we might want to slide in case council does attend, and if they do attend, we can keep the slide. If they don't attend, we can maybe delete it, around like what we're looking forward to in the future in terms of process. Like, we'd really want, you know, a timeline for, like, this is our recommended like approval timeline that has worked before that we would like to get back to. We want to make sure we get back to having a joint meeting every May, or, you know, kind of when we say what we're going to do, like, our work is really dependent on council, right? So we might want to have it wouldn't be appropriate if they're not there, right? But if they are there, it'd be great to like make our recommendations for how our work will look like in the future.
I think we can sort of say, this is what the state historical process was. It's been disrupted with COVID, but we're hoping to get back, to get back to it this year. And there's nothing wrong with
And
that.
that's that roadmap, and you'll have to, Evelyn will have to see if she's got that roadmap, if it was left by,
I sent it out in the email.
who did, Ariana.
When I sent the email about the historical process, I think I only copied Naomi, but about after we met,
Sure.
I included a copy of the old roadmap that would come out every September, which described the process.
Okay.
And overall, if we have to listen to all these commissions, I have no problem if our presentation is 4 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, they'll all love us. They'll be like, wow, Measure J is the coolest commission. They were concise to the point. And thank you for keeping it short, because some of the other ones that aren't as organized are gonna probably take 15 minutes and we're gonna stab ourselves.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
Do what's comfortable for you to present. You don't have to cover every detail.
Right.
City council will be in attendance.
Yeah, just.
It will.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think people will appreciate brevity but clarity. And
Yeah,
And I think also it will stress more, if I use some bigger numbers, the number of roads paved, the amount of the budget is now,
that's impressive.
that kind of stuff. So, and even if I just talk about what's planned, the stuff that's basically been tentatively approved for next year, there's some big projects there that are interesting and varied.
do point out that, like Naomi said, it doesn't happen in a day.
Yes.
These are big, long engineering projects, and we start them here and fund them, and they go through the city. These guys are miracle workers. Joel should get a big case of wine.
One thing you guys may want to consider is that you guys have done an incredible job with your public outreach and like getting the word out as far as what Measure J is and, your brochures, your videos. So maybe you're in that section where it's, what are you going to do next year? You might want to consider talking about, increasing your social media efforts or, some of the things your commission, signage and plaques and, just, building on what you started last year.
I think we say that's one of our goals.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah,
commit.
because we've been talking about that for the last year.
Yeah.
Take a sign with you and say, when you see this sign, this is how it got there.
You have the signs?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, we have the signs here in the building.
What was the reason they gave us that they didn't have a permanent plaque for the downtown park? Because it wasn't a name?
There's no, you have a name.
And you have the plaques that, the poster signs they put up for the dedication of the park, they're still up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
really?
They're still up in the
Yeah.
park, they never took them down.
Oh, the Major J sign?
They took around some that were hanging in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
And actually, I thought they should have had the ones, they should figure out another place when they have the concerts that everybody sees it. Because that's what you have.
And it's interesting because when we went, years ago, we went to Desert Highlands and we did a dedication there of the outdoor stage. There's a plaque right there that it was done by Measure J, the date and all of our names.
Oh, wow.
And it's on a brass plaque. I'm talking about 4 years ago. You were there. You don't remember that?
And where was this?
This is at the Desert Highlands Community Center. And there was a stage built.
No, I didn't go to the.
So that you weren't there, but your name was on it. And there's a brass plaque with a dedication. There should have been something put up in Measure J.
And you're saying
In
that
the
should be in the
outdoor park.
downtown.
Was the
park.
ADA playground Measure J?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I think what would be good is to make sure that there's
In the
things
restrooms, all the park restrooms.
that cover all parts of the city.
And so-
Right.
I mean, there's so much.
And John, do you think we've done more than 100 miles in repaving?
I put it on my to-do list to tell.
Okay, yeah,
I
let
think Joel,
Jeffrey know.
I think Joel told me that it was like, he sent me a number a little while ago.
I'll calculate it for you.
And when we dedicated all the American Disabilities playground equipment at the Sunrise Park, we also had a bus with 59 children with cerebral palsy brought in. And everybody played together on it. We did a whole dedication.
Absolutely.
It was really wonderful.
When will they name the downtown park?
I think it's gonna be a difficult decision.
The next city council.
I think the Parks Commission have a process
To name it?
to start the process and then they make a
Maybe it's
recommendation.
floating water.
Don't get me started on that.
But didn't this group do a presentation? I don't know if it was for One PS or if it was for some group. You guys did a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh,
Or something.
yeah.
Do you remember what
I
that
did
was?
that. I was part of that. I don't think it was a PowerPoint though.
Because it was like 3 or 4 slides, from what I remember, it was like 3 or 4 slides, really high level. That's why I thought it might be a good starting point for Jeffrey, so that you don't have to like reinvent everything.
Do you have that?
But he
We would
was,
have-
No,
who would
I
have
had- I don't know that it was, I don't remember it being a PowerPoint. I think I
Oh,
just
it was
spoke.
just spoken.
Yeah,
Do you remember what group it was for?
it was for one PS. I spoke to one PS.
And we, that was like, that was some.
Oh, you brought, yes, you brought the handout.
This thing too is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good graphics on it. It's getting a little dated.
And that's on the
now.
website, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we have a gallery of progress.
Last big production.
Because it has nice pictures of completed project.
But yeah, I think when I presented to one PS, it was just a verbal presentation.
Yeah.
Why would I have that? Where would I have gotten that? Would it have
That was from the
That was in
picnic
the neighborhood.
Oh, for the picnic, okay.
Yeah.
back in 2019, I think, or something.
I think that's the date on it.
Dan was here.
This had 109 miles back then,
I know.
Wow.
so
Wow.
I think, last I heard, I think it was 138, so.
So you have what you need?
Sounds like 100 plus to me.
That-
It sounds like 100 plus then is the number that would be.
Unless it's over 150, then we can make it 150 plus.
Sure, yeah.
Will help us round up.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Totally, and I
yeah.
think
Just
short to the
Yeah.
point,
be
You're right.
comfortable.
Less is more.
Let them
less
hear
is
the
more.
big stuff, big
Less
ticket
will
items.
shine.
Good.
All right, do we have to do anything else?
And then are we eating while people are talking? Is that the game plan?
I'm not sure what the process is, but it's a buffet dinner is what I was told.
Oh,
And they'll Probably have us even socialize and then start the program.
But they'll send the agenda out.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll send the calendar invitation as soon as I get my information.
I learned in college from public speaking. They said, when you get up to give a speech, a speech should be long enough to cover a woman's legs, short enough to make it interesting.
Hey, I wish you were here,
Seems
Neil.
really outdated advice.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Naomi.
Just switch it to a band, or make it better.
Yeah,
How many people have the little Measure J name tags?
I know.
Everybody does.
Well, like different generations. I think.
It's a different generation. I have one. I think if we have them, wear them.
Yeah.
Just for, just
For
for.
that night,
So
Yeah,
whether,
just so that, yeah.
I'll
presence.
organize them.
you have to order.
I mean, I
but
have-
we're not gonna be, we're still meeting on Zoom going forward in our regular meetings, you know?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, I meant just for
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
21st event. I think it's nice that we stand out, that people know Measure J.
Okay.
But yeah, we doing Zoom in the future?
I haven't fully planned.
No idea yet.
We're gonna be out of time.
We've been planning for gearing up towards, the switch, but we haven't heard yet.
Every month they have to approve that you can, in city council, you can still do teleconference. If you'll notice, it's always on
Yeah.
the.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, and it's more efficient for a lot of things because, I mean, our meeting is a little bit easier because it's a condensed meeting. But there's other meetings where people come and they're not involved in most of the meeting. Like the city
Right.
council meeting, so it's a little easier for them to be on Zoom. but-
Just missing everyone.
So are there any other commission member comments and requests?
No.
So Evelyn, they send out if we do a PowerPoint and you'll send it out to everybody in advance.
Yeah.
So if I get it to you by Monday morning.
Yes.
Then if it's already been drafted, it's not done pretty. And then if anybody has any major complaints or comments, they can tell you.
Yes.
Okay. And I just would want to see it before I have to present.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's complaints, just tell him.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
And as far as, but we're not having our regular June meeting now anymore, so next meeting will be July.
July 21st is the next meeting.
I won't be
So we
here.
have a meeting on the first.
And we're not meeting in August?
We never did.
Right.
We don't
August
know.
First year we
So
I think August is start, but then we meet in September.
We had 2 meetings.
I'm not sure how it works here, but I don't know if we have to adopt a summer schedule.
Oh,
Well, see, this is where
Usually,
typically
as
we vote on the roadmap in September, or I don't know when we voted on it, but we were always given the roadmap for the year,
Yeah.
fiscal year
Right.
ahead.
Yeah,
And then we would approve it, because, and then we would say, well, let's keep December loose. Maybe we'll meet, maybe not, let's see where we are in the process. And then come October, November, we would vote like, yeah, we need a December meeting. Or
Okay.
no, we don't.
it does seem now, in my opinion, that now that they have a better idea of how the roadmap should work, that it might actually take more meetings, because it'll be the first time for most of them to go through the full roadmap. You know what I mean, for staff. Because they've never gone through this September, like we gotta present everything, do it, but they're gonna have the 5-year plan, so they might need August to get ready for September.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer not to, so not meet in August or meet in August.
I think we're gonna meet in July and we'll see what happens then,
yeah.
but
good idea.
that's,
I won't be here in July.
And in November, there's gonna be a lot of changes with the council.
that is true.
Yeah, Jeff is no longer, Chris is gonna get elected. There's 2 right there.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, well, if there's no more comments, then we will adjourn the meeting at 4:26 PM.
Motion.
Oh, do I need a motion?
Motion.
I second.
Okay. That's it.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Good seeing you now.